and I'll return it back to you. He said, I will give it to you with one condition. And that condition is that you have to spend the night with me. Sometimes, say shaitan puts a bad thought in our head. And we get so embarrassed and ashamed, as if we are trying to hide it from Allah Ta'ala. Subhanallah. Dua. Don't consider dua as a small thing. Things can change in an instant if Allah Ta'ala wants. That is the only way of getting to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It does not make any logical sense. Allah Ta'ala, when people do tawbah, sincere tawbah, Allah Ta'ala loves these people. Another story that one Sahabi said that I've heard this story from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 20 odd times or more. And this is when this Sahabi was in the gathering of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It could have been that, many a times he was not in that gathering when Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam must have or might have told that story to other Sahaba as well. In other words, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam loved this story. He wanted that everybody hears this story. And he wanted that everybody hears this story many times. He said that there was a man in Banu Israel called Kifl. And he was like the worst person in the community. He drank alcohol. He was a fornicator, very wealthy man. And people were fed up from him because, if people have lived in such communities where you'll see there's one person who is really bad, you don't want to be in that community, in that neighborhood. So people were fed up from him. So there was a girl who was in need of 60 dinars of that time, gold coins. And she asked people around, nobody had that much money. So somebody suggested to her that she goes to this man called Kifl and take it from him because he's a very wealthy man. So she came. She did not possibly want to come, but she came and she said, can I get a loan of 60 dinars and I'll return it back to you. He said, I will give it to you with one condition. And that condition is that you have to spend the night with me. She was a very righteous girl, but for some reason, she has such a need that she could not deny that. So he came at night, Kifl gave her 60 dinars. And when he got close to her, she started trembling. And she started crying. And he said, why are you crying? Did I force you? She said, no, you did not force me, but I've never done this sin ever in my life. And Kifl started thinking. He said, a girl has never done this ever in her life? Really? Can people be like that as well? Because, when you're doing something every single day, you think that everybody's into it. He started thinking, and she was crying. And subhanallah, I do it every day possibly. And I never even think about it as a bad thing. And she's crying out of fear of Allah. And seriously, it's a bad thing. The tears of that girl made him think. And he said, you go, take these 60 dinars. Don't worry about it. It's not a loan, that's yours. And he left her, did not touch her. And that girl went with 60 dinars and he started thinking. And he said to Allah Ta'ala, in the middle of the night, nobody around, he said, Ya Allah, forgive me for what I've been doing wrong. The most corrupt the most corrupt man of the community, of the neighborhood. And guess what? He passed away that very night. These two stories that the Prophet said, ﷺ, it was a time of a sudden death. These are stories of sudden death. He died that very night. Nobody around him, nobody even knew about his tawbah. The next morning, when people passed by his house, they saw that something is written on his door. And when they got close, they saw that it was written that Allah has forgiven Kifl. Allah has forgiven Kifl. Subhanallah. It could have been between him and Allah, right? Allah forgave him. He'll be forgiven, he'll go to paradise. It could have been as simple as that. But no, Allah Ta'ala wanted everybody to know, look, when he died with tawbah. Allah Ta'ala appreciated that tawbah. This is how much Allah Ta'ala loves people of tawbah. This is what it is. That Allah Ta'ala's Inna Rabbaka wasi'ul maghfirah. That your Lord is extensive in forgiveness. He appreciates people of tawbah. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawwabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Allah Ta'ala loves the people of tawbah. This is the vastness in the mercy of Allah, in the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how can we lose hope, my friends? But the thing is, we have to connect back to Him. We have to understand that He's Al-Wasi, in risk. Why are we so worried, man? Why are we so worried? I understand it's very human that we do get worried about, risk when we lose a job. It's very natural that we get a little concerned, little worried, but not too worried. Not too worried. People come to me every once in a while, really tensed, really depressed. What happened? Make dua. My company is firing people. They're making people redundant. I said, did you get a notice? No, but looks like. SubhanAllah, when you get the notice, then come to me. But why are you so worried? If you lose the job, inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will give you a better one. He is the Razik, right? Inna Allah huwa ar-Razzaq dhul quwwatil mateen. He is Razzaq. He is the one who provides rizq. He is the Quwwah. All authority belongs to Allah. He is Razzaq. He has been providing. Everybody else is just a sabab, is just a means. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Your risk is in the heavens. It's written. It is written in your taqdeer, in my taqdeer, how much I'm going to get in my life. Why am I so worried? He's wasi in his rizq. He's wasi in his ilm. He knows everything. He knows the thoughts that I get. He knows my intentions. He knows why I'm here right now. He knows why are you here right now. He knows every single one of you. Why have you come here? Were you just passing by? Your friend was coming. Why have you come? Allah Ta'ala knows. Allah Ta'ala knows every single thought, every single intention. We cannot hide anything from Allah. Sometimes, say shaitan puts a bad thought in our head. And we get so embarrassed and ashamed, as if we are trying to hide it from Allah Ta'ala. SubhanAllah. We cannot hide from Allah. So what should we be saying? Ya Allah, you know the thoughts that I get. Ya Allah, you know the intentions that I have. You know that jealousy in my heart. You know that I have bad feelings about somebody. I cannot hide from Allah. What's the point? It's better rather that we should express it to Allah Ta'ala. Ya Allah, you know everything what's going on within me. Ya Allah, please help me to purify my heart. Ya Allah, please take away all of these filthy thoughts away from my heart. Please, you help me. We cannot hide from Allah. There's nothing hidden from Allah. So we should just express ourselves to Allah Ta'ala to help me. Huwa a'lamu biman ittaqa. He knows who is muttaqi. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't think of yourself as righteous. Don't claim yourself to be a righteous person. Huwa a'lamu biman ittaqa. He knows who has taqwa. So we should rather beg to Allah Ta'ala to help us to purify our hearts. So His ilm is infinite. He's wasi in His ilm. And He is wasi in His hikmats. Everything is happening because of a reason, friends. Everything is happening for a reason. What should we be doing? Dua. Don't consider dua as a small thing. Things can change in an instant if Allah Ta'ala wants. Don't be hopeless. Don't think. Some people ask this question, what can we do other than making dua? So are you thinking that dua is a small thing? Really? As I've already explained, right? All these prophets made dua all their life. And when it was time for things to happen, things happen. So continue to make dua. This is the test of our iman. And don't lose hope. Everything is happening for a reason. As I said, and Allah Ta'ala is wasi in His, what was the fourth thing we said? In His mercy, in His forgiveness, indeed. So as always, what should we be doing? We should also have this big heart. A heart should also be wasiyah. We should also have a big heart. Remember one definition of Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah alayhi, what did he say? That Allah Ta'ala is the one who is wasi, who has made the deen wasiyah, who has made this religion He's expanded this religion, the rules of this religion for us. That's why, Allah Ta'ala has kept a few things vague, purposely, out of His wisdom. Allah Ta'ala could have said, do this. As simple as that. Allah Ta'ala has kept a few things vague, of course, for a reason. And the reason is that there will be ijtihad in that. Scholars will sit down in the light of Quran and Sunnah and will try to find the rulings out of it as to what does Allah Ta'ala really mean. And they will come up with their own opinions, and there will be a difference of opinion in that. Of course, whenever people will think, there will always be a difference of opinion because everybody's minds work differently. And this difference of opinion is a mercy. It's a mercy because situations change. This is how Allah Ta'ala is running the world. Situations are different. Situations here are different than in Makkah Mukarramah, than in the Arab world, then in the subcontinent, then in the Western world. Things are different. So the rulings are different as well, based on the ijtihad of fuqaha. And sometimes, the muftis will give you a fatwa according to the situation, as long as it falls within the framework, as long as it falls within the principles as have been defined by our jurists and the fuqaha. But that's why difference of opinions. We have to learn those differences of opinions. We have to learn those. And we have to give people room. We have to have a big heart. But that big heart cannot happen until that we have knowledge. Unfortunately, we only look at people, we think that, this is the way of sitting, a sunnah way. And this person is sitting in a different way, and we don't give him room. Some people have a certain way of thinking, and they think that their way of thinking is perfect and everybody else is wrong. Come on. How can it be? Does it make any sense? It does not make any logical sense. That means there's something wrong in my thought process. It cannot be. Will everybody will become a plumber or a carpenter or an electrician or an electrical engineer or a civil engineer or an architect or a doctor or a nurse or a pilot or an accountant? Does it make any logical sense? Because I am very good in accountancy, so I want everybody to be an accountant. It does not make any logical sense. So how can it be that if I'm taking a path towards Allah in a certain way, that is the only way of getting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It does not make any logical sense. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Allah Ta'ala says, whoever makes an effort in my cause, I will guide him to my ways. Plural, subul. Not sabilana. To lanahdiyannahum subulana. There are many ways. There are many paths towards Allah. So please, we have to have a big heart. تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ. We have to learn from these attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We also have to have big heart. Just like Allah Ta'ala is Al-Wasi. We also have to have wusat in ourselves to accept everybody. We have to have tolerance. But for that, I repeat that we have to have the true knowledge, because some people are trying to give room out of their ignorance. So please, with that condition, within the right principles, within the principles of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the traditional way. But we have to give room to people, please.